Hey, okay. This is Country. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to another word? Oh, Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center broadcast. Today we're going to talk about don't count in your confidence. Don't count in your confidence. I think we'll be in Philippians chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 1 because as I stated, and the message that I've been releasing is that God is going to allow many of you to move forward in ministry. And a lot of times we get apprehensive uh, in calling when God is calling us. So what we do, we look to people or things that we think will help us along the way. We look for the best church. We look for the best mentor. We look for the best schools if that's what you want to do to prove to people that God is calling you in the ministry. All right. But here we're gonna see in Philippians, Paul came to an understanding of that how true ministry is not measured on by what you have, what you know, who you're around, how you was born. It's measured on the relationship that you have with God. So he starts off in Philippians chapter 3. He said, finally, my brother, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same things to you, to me indeed is not grievous, but for you it is safe. Now, what we got to understand is that word finally. That finally is a direct indicator of that you're ready. Finally is defined after a long time. And in a long time is typically involved in difficulty or delay, which means I know God told me to do this, but why this happening? I know God told me to do this. I mean to move here, but why this happening? He gave me this job, but now he's trying to fire me. He gave me this business, now he's trying to tell me to close it. He told me to start this ministry, but I don't believe I'm called. Finally is used to introduce a final point or a reason. So when Paul goes in and said finally, that's a transitional word that shows you that what you're going through does have an end date. And when that end date comes, he says, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same thing to you, to me indeed is not grievous. Because see, a lot of times being leaders in ministry, sometimes you repeat the same thing over and over again. And sometimes you may hear the same revelation, but in different ways or different revelations over and over again. So what he's telling you, and what Paul is trying to see, that when it's your time to begin to operate in ministry, there's nothing wrong with keep asking questions. There's nothing wrong to seeking the truth of what you're going to do. But there comes a time that you got to be confident that God is calling you. He goes on to verse 2. He said, beware of the dogs, beware of evil workers, beware of the concision. For we are the circumcision which worship God in the spirit and rejoice in Christ Jesus and have no confidence in the flesh. This is a hard word. See, people get mad at me when I use certain language. But Paul said, beware of dogs. He wasn't talking about dog. He was talking about people. He said, beware of the dogs. And what we got to understand when Paul said, beware of the dogs, he was talking about people who gang up to attack somebody else's ministry. He was talking about people who get together to release fake information or release lies on you. He was talking about people with that pack mentality. They always arguing, always always under the guise of religion. I was just getting started. Let me see if my camera's still on. It went off. All right, we're gonna have to start it all over again. In screen.